In this video, I'm going to tell you how to solve your medical insurance price increase problem to prepare yourself for retirement. If you do not know how going to address this, you will be hit with a lot of financial contingency. When you actually retire and do not have any further active income coming in, and then suddenly your medical insurance is going to double, triple in the next 10 to 20 years. Now, the way I'm going to tell you how to solve this problem is in a way of, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm only going to tell you the actionable steps within your control. You don't have to wait, or you should not wait or depend on the government to come to save you. Now, at the end of this video, you would know everything that you need to know. Without, these are the things that's not published in your mainstream media. But I can tell you right up front that the only question that you should be asking is, which insurer is the most reasonable among the all insurers in Malaysia in terms of price hike? No one insurers are immune to it, but which one is most reasonable, or they did not really hike that a lot, right? And how do you actually maximize or optimize your overall coverage, especially medical coverage, as you plan or approach retirement without paying more? And ideally with the same premium without a reduction in your coverage, which a lot of people will say that is like the best value of money, right? And what is really affordable to you? You don't want to overpay, you don't want to underinsure as well. But to really understand what happened and or what you can do, you have to understand the details of what is the root cause of this problem and what have the regulator or the government have done to alleviate this problem. Now, this is what the regulator has done. Medical insurance premium to be staggered, or the premium hike to be staggered and kept below 10% yearly, right? Now, if you read this, I think you would not disagree that this is just a band-aid solution. It's not going to solve the problem, but basically, Bank Negara is just going to say, yeah, you're going to not to have a 30% premium hike immediately next year, but that 30% is being staggered out for the next 3 years. I'm going to show you details on that, but it is something like during the COVID years, right? When, the former Prime Minister back then announced that, oh, you do not need to pay for your loans, but it's just that you don't have to pay for a certain time. Not saying that all loan repayments are being waived. No, so this is still happening. They just are delaying. These steps are not going to solve the problem, but it's going to make you feel at least some relief, temporary relief going forward from here. Now, most of the screenshots in the very detailed write-up I'm sharing with you is actually captured from the Edge Weekly. If you have not really read this, I think, this is not sponsored, but to understand a lot of these business news or whatnot, you should subscribe to the Edge Weekly. Again, this is not sponsored, but I have to give credit to the Edge because there's some information over here that I'm actually basically snapshot the article that's published by the Edge Weekly. So you can see here, they are just delaying the unavoidable. And I'm going to summarize this for you in a short while, but in summary, nobody's coming to rescue you and nobody is going to pay, right, on your behalf when insurance company charge you higher premium on your medical insurance. And of course, right, Bank Negara, the regulator for all insurance companies, says that, oh, all insurance companies should have a substitute medical insurance, cater for those who really cannot afford to pay after the medical premium hike takes place. So in other words, I'm going to put this bluntly for you. You are going to pay the same amount of money, but you will be relegated to have a lower coverage when it comes to your medical insurance. And the other option is you can actually pay lower by opting in to a lower insurance coverage, medical insurance coverage. When you pay lower, the coverage will be significantly even lower. So there is no chance that even the government can help and to say that you are going to pay the same exact price and you still get the same coverage, nothing changed. That's not going to happen. No, right? So as you can see over here, there's nothing. There's literally nothing the government can do to 100% solve this problem the way you want it to be solved. What is the way you want it to be solved? Ideally, you want you want to pay the same amount of premium with the same coverage, but that is not going to happen, right? This is the details of the Band 8 temporary solution, which is summarized by the age in this table. Very nice. Okay, so they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 steps of steps, staggered the upfront increase of whatever 30, 40, 50%. This impacts 80% of the medical card holders in Malaysia. So this measure will be in place until for the next 3 years, 2026. So on a yearly basis, there would still be in premium hike, okay, but no more than 10% per year. But that is just still 30% hike in the next 3 years. So it's like literally you see that coming. And there would be a if you are age 60 and above, they say that you would be given sort of like a 1-year moratorium to say that you do not need to pay. I think what it says, you do not need to pay for increased premium for only 1 year. But after that, everything is in the air. Nobody knows what will happen after a year, right? For policyholders who are aged above 60 years old. And of course, if you have surrender your policy because you cannot afford to pay, for this year or whatnot, so the regulator says that you should reinstate back your policy without any need to check your health condition again, because usually how it works is that if insurance company will need to recheck your health condition if you have a policy that you have been paying for 20 years and suddenly you miss one payment and then the policy has lapsed, okay, to reinstate that, right? They need to say, hey, I need to evaluate your health condition again. So they have waived, the regulator said they have waived this requirement for now, right? It's an interim measure, right? And this is step number 4 is more on the long-term basis. Say alternative products to be provided the same or lower premium before additional underwriting. If you have a medical card, you want to switch to a lower coverage medical card, you should not be required to undergo another round of checking of your health condition again before you are approved for that new medical card with a lower coverage, right? So if insurance company must make this kind of cheaper alternative, lower coverage alternative available to all policyholders by 2025. Now, but still, after reading this, you might still be, very annoyed and asking something like what people are asking. You're just like delaying the pain. You will still end up having to pay more for something that you already had, right? Already been promised from day one since you bought that medical card or medical policy, right? So it's still not fair. I understand where you're coming from. Yes, it's a lesser product at the same price, not fair, right? Why? Basically what you think is like when the actuaries, the people who actually look at the pricing and the risk, work at insurance company to determine the pricing of this medical product, meaning that they have miscalculated when they price the product. Now here's the thing you have to understand. Actuarial science or actuaries also work based on past data, right? This is the past data, but since after COVID, this claim has been skyrocketing, medical inflation and all that. This is something that even actuarial science cannot foresee 5 years ago, right? So therefore, actuaries are also human and they can be wrong. And in case you say, hey, it's not fair, well, life is not fair. So to put it bluntly, you just have to accept that fact. And there's also comment saying that, well, because medical card premium hike is correlated to the hike in the pricing of these medical or healthcare services provided by private healthcare, private hospital. So people are asking like, well, then really, why don't we look at the root cause of it, which is really not medical premium, but the cost of private healthcare. But the thing is, there's no real incentive for private healthcare operators, which in other words, private hospitals, to control the cost, because there's no incentive for them to control the cost if the cost can be passed on to consumers like you and me or policyholder. Then what do you expect? When there's a cost increase, the cost passed back to government is going to come in and pay for the deficit in whatever that cannot be covered by the private sector. No, it doesn't happen that way, right? The economy does not happen that way. Then some more government budget is a deficit. They spend more money than what the taxes or the revenue that they can collect. And you already know that if you look at in public sectors, right, there's always not enough budget to hire more permanent doctors positions in the public sector. So that there are just so many things that the government has to allocate budget for. So therefore, this is a real fact. And I would also argue that nobody is actually forcing you to pay for this kind of medical card, which entitle you for admission at private hospital. The other option is, if you cannot pay, nobody's forcing you to pay, you can just stop paying. If you can't afford, don't pay. Insurance company not going to force you to pay. You don't pay, insurance company just say no more coverage for you. And then when you need any medical treatment, you go to public hospital. And so as you can see, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to rescue anyone. Yes, the cost is always bear by or borne by the consumers, because a lot of people don't understand that there are this particular clause in your medical insurance policy contract. Did you even read this clause? Right? This clause says that every insurance company says we reserve the right at any time and from time to time to vary or to increase the cost of insurance and the service charges at our absolute discretion by giving you a 3 months notice. Which is why they already have this clause, right? Technically and legally speaking, insurance companies are not violating any promises, right? Because they never promise you that the price will stay the same. Okay, don't take it for granted, because this is the exact scenario that after 2020, medical cost, healthcare treatment for services has gone up, right? But this kind of cost has always been there since 20-30 years ago. It's just that it does not happen that often, and the hike every 3 years and all that isn't that significant, maybe just 5 or 10%. So this kind of thing wasn't in the media. People don't make a big fuss over it. But this kind of cost has always been there, right? So even if you bring insurance company to court to say that, hey, why you increase my premium? I'm going to sue you. You cannot win, right? You cannot win. I can tell you, you cannot win, because these are the clause that is in black and white already. And when you sign for your insurance application, your medical insurance policy, when you sign, it is assumed that you already understand and you agree with the clause, even though who reads all the terms of the contract and all that, right? Nobody reads. But that does not mean that you are right. When you sign legally, from a legal standpoint, you understood it and you already read it, right? So you have to also understand, when it comes to insurance, any insurance is what I would call as a unilateral contract. It's a one-sided contract. How is it different, right? Bilateral contract is basically to say that before you actually sign anything, you ask the other party to promise to do something, right? But that is bilateral contract, right? Imagine you are A, the green color, and insurance company is B, the red color, right? You promise to pay, and they promise to provide you coverage. That is like you and me. We are doing a business, engaging you to provide a service, and I agree, then I pay you. You also agree that this amount of payment is sufficient for you. Now, a unilateral contract basically to say that, just like an insurance company, the terms of the coverage in a medical policy is basically fixed. It's fixed. Right? They are going to provide this. You have no room for negotiation. You read this contract, you really are going to read this term of coverage, and if you agree, then you only sign. If you do not agree, you do not sign. But if you sign already, I assume that you have understood and you agree, right? So legally speaking, insurance companies are immune because you already signed, right? And behind the scene, what is really happening is for the regulator or Bank Negara, they make it very clear that insurance company cannot increase this premium that's being charged to you just because they want to have higher profits. At least that is what Bank Negara says, right? Every time when insurance company want to increase a premium to the policyholder, to the existing portfolio of your medical card, they go to Bank Negara and literally say, hey, we need to increase the premium because our claims, this is the data, our claims has been skyrocketing. Therefore, they need to seek for the approval, for Bank Negara approval. So whatever price hike or premium increase notices that you receive, basically insurance company have done the necessary, go to the regulator, and the regulator basically agree, right? Now, because there's this public outcry now, all right, and this kind of public outcry, the regulator have a lot of empathy and they see that, oh, okay, seems like this has caused more chaos than I expected. So now I think the regulator is more like, okay, take a step back, They do not really say that, okay, insurance company cannot increase their cost anymore. No, they are not saying that. They're just saying that the increase in cost is basically being staggered for the next 3 years instead of one lump sum increase in the next immediate year, right? So, like I say, that is why, this is still a band-aid solution. Now, the official statement by the regulator What did the regulator say, right? You can pause this and read this, but to summarize, what they're saying is, within this private healthcare ecosystem, they have announced some, like I say, band-aid solution. They don't call it that way. Right? We call this an interim solution. We provide some temporary relief to everyone, but the real way to actually solve the root cause of this problem is basically what we call as a broader health reform. You can think of it as your reformacy. But reforms, is it going to take place in the next 3 years? Nobody knows. But just to give you a context, right? About 25 years ago, our current Prime Minister, Dr. Sri Ahmad Ibrahim, had some political incident happen, and he was pursuing this path of reformacy, what we call, but that is the political side of it, right? I don't want to talk about politics, but when it comes to reformacy, every single year, and all the motto has been reformacy for 20 years, and only after 20 years we can see the start of a reform. So in this healthcare reform, I do not know. Nobody knows how long it's going to really take place to have a reform that have a positive impact towards everyone. But maybe it could take 3 years, maybe it could take the next 20 years, which is why I say, if you cannot wait, nobody can wait for the next 20 years for the government to save us and rescue us. So we have to kita jaga kita, which means that I think we have to look at the things what are the things that are within our control that we can do today, rather than wait for people to rescue us. I 100% agree with what the central bank official statements about a definite, solid, long-term solution to this problem. But still, in the short term, nobody, you and me included, nobody can escape from paying more. Okay, from paying more for their insurance premium. And this is some of the key facts that the Edge Weekly summarized pretty well. Again, I'm screenshotting this for you, but the source is from the Edge Weekly. This is some of the data justification released by Bank Negara. They say that since 2020, if you only look at the data from 2023 after COVID, the frequency of claims per 100 policyholder has gone up from 6.8 to 8.6. And then the second thing is, this is more shocking. Just read this, right? I think I'll better show you this one, right? This is a shocking thing. Now, dengue cases, data shows from a sampling of 33,000 cases of admission into private hospital. If you admit to a private hospital without using a medical card, your dengue admission could be 1,003 ringgit. But if you are using a guarantee letter, which means that if you have a medical card, a guarantee letter comes with it, right, during the hospital admission, you are charged almost like 4 times more, about 5,000. And for pneumonia cases, they have even a larger sampling size of 54,000 cases. If you do not have a medical card, you just pay from your own pocket, it's only 2,006. But then if you're using a medical card, apparently the bill is 6,008. And that's a lot of things people don't realize, right? Because if you pay using a guarantee letter, you do not care. Insurance companies are the ones who settle your bills, right? But literally for pneumonia cases, they are like twice or even more than double the cost. So very shocking, and nobody is really asking why there is a discrepancy in the charges between you having a medical card and you not having a medical card when you're admitted to the hospital. And again, this is not my data, but based on what I read from the Edge Weekly, right? So from 2021 to 2023, there was growth in medical claim costs. It has gone up to 47 to 56%. So again, the percentage might not feel like there's a lot of increase, but there's still increase in terms of like when you're talking about millions of or hundreds. I don't know how many millions, but basically these are some of the data. And the other thing that I think everyone should be aware, like when it comes to private hospital costs, 60 to 70% are actually not because the doctor overcharged, because the doctor fees, the procedure fees are regulated. But the thing that is not regulated is the bulk of your medical bill charges, 60 to 70%. Right? Doctor charges only about like what? 20-30%, which is regulated, but these are the not regulated, and this is based on what? Based on nursing charges when you go for CT scan, MRI, medications and all that. And everybody knows that you get the same medication from the private hospital pharmacies. It's going to cost you a lot more than you are going to buy the same medication outside the hospital at your normal neighborhood pharmacies, right? So as this equipment or treatment equipment or services in private hospital, they also always have a more advanced machine and all that. Come on, all these cost money, right? All these cost money. And who's going to bear the cost? Well, if you admit to hospital, you say, oh, I want to be treated using this machine. Back then, for cancer treatment, you have your normal chemotherapy and radiotherapy. And now you have a more common but more advanced cancer treatment like immunotherapy, targeted therapy, and all that. Right? And all that costs a lot more than your conventional treatment. And these are the things that is prone to medical inflation. These are the things that is not regulated as of now. But then Prime Minister say that he is instructing Ministry of Health to try to regulate private hospital charges and implements what we call diagnostic related group mechanism that recommends a fixed amount or range based on the complexity of the medical procedure, including what are the reasonable charge for MRI or CT scan and all that. That is yet to be seen what's the impact, how much is a positive impact we can get from that. But the key word to take away from here is private hospital charges are not regulated, and that forms the bulk of your medical bill, because you're asking for, if a doctor asks you to say, oh, treatment A and B. Treatment A is a conventional one, it's quite painful, it takes longer time to recover. But treatment B, you take lesser time to recover, you don't really feel a lot of pain at all. Of course, you as a patient, you will say, oh, I want the one that can recover faster and lesser pain. But that costs double or even triple the conventional treatment. And that is what, you ask for it, therefore, hospital charge you for that. And then if you are not the one paying, basically insurance company is footing the bill. And then why people are complaining like, why my medical premium is increasing? Because if everyone is doing that, insurance company claims ratio goes up, and they look at it, they say, whoa, something is wrong, right? Profit margin are shrinking, and they're going to go to the regulator and says that, look, because of this and this, based on the data, we need to increase the premium, and the regulator actually approved that, right? So, what is the solution that is within your control? Not going to sugarcoat it, but basically, you have to earn more money, right? If not, you have to settle for public healthcare, government hospital, which I reckon is good, but it comes with a long waiting time, right? Long waiting time. So if you want private healthcare, no other way to do so. You have to earn more. How to earn more? Make sure you improve yourself. Your skill set has to be up to date. Earn more money is basically why company is willing to pay you more money. Why your customer is willing to pay you more money? Because you have a skill set, you deliver value, you solve a problem, right? You have a value, you have a higher qualification or whatnot, a skill set, right? Earn more money and have more money, and plan to have more money during retirement. If you plan for retirement, you have to factor in to say you have to expect, right? You're not going to pay the exact same rate of premium throughout your 20-30 years of retirement. You expect some form of medical, not even medical inflation. It's the hike in your medical card premium or medical insurance policy. Ghana already basically tells you, right? They are going to stagger the hike in medical premium policy for the next year at 10% per year. So maybe you are not only planning for your lifestyle inflation of 4% per year. When it comes to a medical card premium, now you have to expect every 5 years or even every year a 10% premium hike. And then you have to plan it ahead, and only you can come to a conclusion whether you really do have enough money for retirement, not only to pay for your food, groceries, transport and all that when your active income stops, but also to pay for your medical card premium. If you cannot pay for your medical card premium, insurance company, if you think of it that way, they are not losing anything, because you are just paying like 5,000 a year. And if you are unwilling to pay more, then insurance company, what they're losing is just 5,000. Right, 5,000. And insurance company is not going to go bankrupt. But if you are not going to pay 5,000 or 6,000 more every year, can you imagine when a serious medical condition hits you and that could cost 50,000, 100,000 in the future? People don't understand. Just because they are very irritated, they are very angry at this, and then they just stop paying for their medical insurance because they think it's not fair. But hey, when you do that, there is a bigger financial impact to you rather to the insurance company, right? It's like, just because there's a mosquito flying around, you take a shotgun and going to shoot and try to kill the mosquito in the house. But end of the day, you're also damaging your house, right? Perhaps at the same time, you kill the mosquito, but the damage to you financially is much more the damage to the insurance company. You just look at it that way. Because insurance company knows that they would rather not lose more money to compensate you for a medical bill that's already increasing cost. They would rather that you drop your medical card if you're not able to pay more, because that is literally what they are saying, right? Rather than to have you to cover you and to lose money just to cover for all these increase in medical bills or medical costs, they would not want to run a loss-making business, right? And this is absolutely something that within everybody's control. You earn more, have more money, plan for more money in the future. So this kind of price hike become a non-issue. And the way I look at it is always like, what are the things that we can control? Right now, there's some client story I want to share with you. So basically, this client on day one already paying about 10,000 a year, right? So he's subjected to a 35% price hike, right? But the thing is, they really she never complained and about this price hike, and her response was saying that, okay, I just want to understand more, how does this happen? Okay, and then she's very understanding, and they say, yeah, that makes sense, right? Also, she do not want to downgrade even. She literally said, well, it is what it is. If that's what it takes to pay more, she would just gladly pay more to still maintain the same kind of coverage. And I was asking, like, do you want to downgrade? No. He said, basically, he said, probably I have to some adjustment to my budget in other areas. And mind, this one is a retiree, right? But you never want to complain, because complaining it's not a productive thing to do. There's nothing you can do, right? The other option is to actually drop this medical card. But if you're in 60 and 70, the peace of mind to say that even if you have to pay 13,000, 15,000 a year just for a medical card, the peace of mind of knowing that as long as I pay this, then I would be covered for a medical bill of up to 2 million a year. So there's some certainty in this perspective. Versus if you get very angry and then you say, yeah, I know this is not fair, I'm going to drop this medical card, surrender it and all that. Yeah, you might save 10,000, 13,000, 15,000 a year, but when a medical bill hits you, in the future, it's very likely that the medical bill is going to cost more than whatever, like 10,000 or even 15,000 a year, right? So like I say, in this kind of thing, do not be impulsive and just say that, yeah, I know it's not fair, therefore I don't want to be covered anymore. So the impact is more on you rather than any insurance company, right? So the next question is based on which insurance company is the most reasonable, right? In the price hike, meaning that they have a record to say they don't overpromise. Price hike is not outrageous. Even before this matter becomes a national issue, they're more reasonable. Well, we know, okay, but I do not want to name any companies. But basically, the other way when clients come to us to actually solve this problem is that they could be paying a certain 20,000, 30,000 a year, okay, as they approach retirement. But the other insurance or policy that they are paying is more like the savings plan or whatever, life insurance and all that. Now, since medical insurance premium increase, it's about time then you could think about restructuring your policies, in the sense that there could be some older, outdated policies that covers things like life insurance that you probably do not need already, and that is not so important anymore, especially you approach retirement and then your loans are being paid off. So you want to say, instead of me paying for things that are unnecessary or insurance that is unnecessary or redundant or what, the important thing that's going to make a lot of difference going forward as you approach retirement or after you retire is the medical card or the medical premium. So the one thing is, you have to know how to channel some of this premium that you're already paying for things that are redundant or not necessary into something that matters more, that is more important, which is your medical card premium. So end of the day, you would not feel that you are paying a lot more because you will be paying the same amount of premium for the past 10, 20 years and all that. But now that same amount of premium is being channeled into paying for something that is really important, that is really going to make a difference for you in the next 20 years or so, right? This is what we call as your whole insurance portfolio restructuring. You just have to rechannel your premium. So technically you're not paying more, but you're paying for things that are more important for you in your best interest, right? And which is why I'm going to show you some of these comments or remarks that they approach us and then they leave remarks to say what the kind of advice I need. These are very good examples. So people are saying that they have been triggered by this insurance premium hike, and then they are lost. Like, what should I do? I don't want to pay more, right? what should I do? So these are some of the things. If you have these kind of concerns, basically we do actually provide advice to really try to solve the problem that you have, give you a different perspective so you can make a better informed decision, right? Check out some of our clients' feedback or testimonial or client stories. Link in bio or below this video. Your comments as well, if you have any, leave your comments below. And that is all I have for this video. Thing that you want to know but that is not covered in this video, again, leave your comments below. And thank you for watching, and I'll update you again on similar matters in future upcoming videos.